Welcome to the Business Blast Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite provides you with the support you need to finish your book. Best part is, after you finish your book, they take care of the entire publishing and marketing process 100% for you. So, if you want to become a successful author, make sure to check out authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today I have Kate Snack with us. She's the founder of a Toronto-based marketing firm named Snack Agency. It's a team dedicated to delivering flexible marketing strategies to Canadian businesses looking for an alternative agency experience. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tyler. Happy to be here.
Of course. Happy to have you here. Let's dive into the first one, Kate. The first one I got for you is, what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
Yeah. When I first graduated from college, I made a fairly fearless decision that I wanted to be a music executive and work in the entertainment industry, in festivals and growing artists. And I started my first venture as a small concert promotions company, and I spent a number of years tirelessly building that profile and interviewing bands and managing DJs, and I poured my heart into it and poured tens of thousands of dollars into the industry, meeting lots of people, and I fell flat on my face over and over again, and I finally gave up on that business. And that failure was one of the greatest experiences I could have ever asked for. And the biggest message or takeaway from that experience, I think, is that, that fearlessness pushed me time and time again to challenge myself and put myself into, difficult situations and environments and continue to take risks. And it's that fire and that passion that I try to continue to listen to as I grow and as I've embarked on this second venture. And there are days where I don't think I have it in me anymore. And, I just dig deep and I trust that intuition and that fire and the passion. And I know that it's well placed and it continues to drive me forward. So I think that that's the value and the experience that I continue to look back on to push me forward.
And what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
I think we're in a very interesting time in marketing where technology is changing the marketing landscape more rapidly than it ever has before. And, being adaptable and open to change, ready to experiment, and being equipped to analyze data is a crucial element that every marketer needs to bind to their strategic paradigm and their approach to creative problem solving. The formula isn't static anymore, and to serve mastery, I think there's nothing more important than knowing and understanding and working within that construct.
And it could tie in, but what's your best piece of overall business advice, so not necessarily industry specific?
Yeah, I'm, again, a new business owner, having worked for other people for a long time. And, being in these shoes, you realize that you're responsible for every facet of the organization. And I think something that I continue to lean on is the idea of knowing my blind spots and surrounding myself with people who can see them and who can fill in my viewpoint to make sure that, the company is successful and that I'm successful. I think, knowing your strengths and leaning on those strengths and understanding your weaknesses is the best advice I could give somebody.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Yeah. I wish I could give my younger self lots of pieces of advice. But I think if there's one thing I wish I had done more of when I was, going into the career stage of my life, it's that, asking more questions than you think you need answers to is the best approach to, growing your career. There's no better way to grow, improve, commit knowledge to self-guided learning. And, business is not a paint by numbers coloring book. So maintaining a focus on constantly seeking out opportunities to learn, I think, is one thing I wish that I'd done a lot more of when I was younger.
And kind of going a little bit down a different path, in your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
That's a tough one. And something I do spend a lot of time thinking about, because I know that, being happy is a strong source of productivity. But I really think it's very simple. And, it's about, I think the key to happiness is engaging in activities that make you happy. I'm deeply passionate about a lot of different things: athletics, music, behavior, ideas. And the more I move towards those things and I keep those ideas and those elements close to me on a day-to-day basis, the happier I find myself. And it doesn't have to be complicated. I try to keep a list of my interests and update it as I evolve, to make sure that I'm constantly, fueling my soul.
And what is the best book? What is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
You know what? I've read a lot of books, and I absolutely hate fiction. I find, the messages can be long-winded, and you can read, any number of books, and they typically just don't land with me, to be totally honest. I'd rather read a journal article, or have a really beautiful glossy magazine in my hand. So I read a lot of HBR and Wired, Inc., Vogue. That's more appealing to me than anything. And, if more fiction or more books were peppered with advertising, I think I'd probably have a lot more interest in it.
And what is your favorite quote and why?
Part of me hates that it's my favorite quote, but it's a Mark Twain. And yeah, don't let schooling interfere with your education. I think about it a lot, and I think culturally we're fixated on the idea that, post-secondary education is the key to success. But I know a lot of brilliant people who either didn't have access to education or who didn't care. And, quite frankly, I learned a lot more outside of the classroom than any textbook or professor ever taught me.
Yeah, well, I agree. Thank you so much for coming on. The last one I have for you before we let you go is, where is the best place for people to find you online?
Yeah. Well, with a last name like Snack, I'm hard pressed to find anyone who can't find me online if they're looking. But yeah, our website, snackagency.co, is a good place to start. And on LinkedIn, almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So easy to find there as well.
Awesome. Thanks again for jumping on.
Thank you so much, Tyler. It's been a pleasure.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.